How's it going? No, I don't really watch football. I'm just copying over some files. I guess that's good. Hmm. I guess I can install my update. All right. I was just cloning a project that I had, so I can kind of start from a starting point. Make sure I can log in. What's going on there? All right. When's the AI course? Hey, thank you so much for the super chat. I'm not sure yet. I was gonna hope for the end of this month, but I think there's more videos I want to record. And I'm also trying to gauge like the usefulness of it, honestly. Like, do people actually need assistance learning how to prompt Claude code and how to set it up? Like, I guess I'd be curious, for those who were interested in the AI course, what specifically did you want to learn? What's up, y'all? Go to my header. What is this even doing? Debug session state. I think it would be useful a lot. Haven't even started using AI just because it's so overwhelming. Yeah, I need to finish it. Like, I have all the videos that walk you through all the features of Cursor, how to get it set up. I have another section of Claude code, how to do like commands, how to do sub agents, all this other stuff. The third module, I just need to kind of build out a full stack application. And I'm still trying to figure out like the value of it. Like, is it valuable? Watching someone use Claude Code and Cursor build something out. Because sometimes I just second guess the purpose of a course. But if y'all think it's valuable, I'll keep going in. All right, so what we're building right now is I've been playing around with something called Strudel. I made a video on it a couple days ago, where you can actually like make music with code. And one issue that I've seen with this is that it's very hard to find example sounds. Like, so it'd be cool to have like a marketplace or like a recipe community where people can go and upload certain sounds or certain songs, and people could go and comment on them and rate on them and whatnot. And for the Agentic Jumpstart course that I'm working on, which I guess I'll just do a little bit of marketing for it, you can go and join the newsletter, the wait list, and I'll send out emails if I finish this and when I finish this. I'll go ahead and paste the comment there. But I wanted to make sure that if people buy this course, they have an actual like starting point. And so I've been playing around with like creating a template project that has basically everything that you need. The kind of like have a good starting point. One thing that I've noticed with AI is that if you try to build something from scratch, it struggles finding like the best up-to-date ways to do things. And so having a starting point with like good documentation. So for example, this is a Tanstack start project. Oops. And it has a couple of things already built into it. This is like the template. So you can log in and you can upload a song. See if I can find like an audio file somewhere. Do I have any songs anywhere? Yeah, so I can upload a song. I think it's Tennis Hero, one word. You can do an album, a genre, whatever, and then I can upload it. Failed to create song, invalid input. Cover image. Oh, does it need a cover image? I need to fix that. Which one is high scenes? There we go. So this was like the template project where like you can upload a song, you can add it to your playlist, and that'll play. And you can also like pop out your playlist. You can go and you can download the song, you can edit it if you want to change the cover art or something. You can go and browse all the songs that are uploaded by every user. You can go and I think there's a way to actually view people's profiles, maybe. Maybe not. Let me go to my playlists. So you can create a playlist. If you log in, I have some like Stripe authentication set up so that it limits, to give you good examples of how to do like plan-based limiting in your project. Let's create a playlist over here. Testing playlist. All right, and so I can click on the playlist, and then if I go back to browse, I can add that. And then I should be able to view my playlists. There we go. I can add more songs to it. I can modify it. Anyway, the point is having a good starting point can just help you be more productive using AI tools. Whether or not like you have a project that's related to playing music, like having the good structure of your code, like having things split up into nice, layered architecture with the data access patterns, a folder for server functions, a folder for like third-party libraries, a folder for hooks. Making sure your code is clean and like structured makes AI work much better from what I've seen. And then also having like docs got to explain the architecture. So I went through and I spent time like building out the architecture. How does authentication work here? How do file uploads work with, I'm using R2 for the file uploads. Subscriptions, how does Stripe subscriptions work? How does that hooked into the database? How is that hooked into utility functions? How does Tanstack start work? And just outlining all this stuff with context files so that when you prompt AI and Claude and Cursor, you can just tag these files and it's just much more successful at delivering features. And so, yeah, I think some of the things that we're going to do in this stream, if I have time, is just start building out features. I'm going to probably get rid of all the playlist stuff. I don't think it's important for the application I want to build, but I am testing out the theory of like if you have a nice starting point, a starter kit with the nice documentation, how easy is it to take an existing project and like build on it and refactor it to meet different needs. So let me go back to chat real quick. One MCP course is needed too. Yeah, I was thinking about making a module that show how to create an MCP server. So the thing for the course that I'm working on is like I want to get like an initial set of modules ready to go, but then later on I can keep adding to it if people ask for changes or ask for additional stuff. I'm using Chrome. If you see a good repository project and all the commits have Claude code authored on them, you just judge it more harshly. And all the commits have Claude code authored on them, do you judge it harshly? No, not really. I mean, like, at this point, as long as you're reviewing the code and you understand what the code does, I don't care who wrote it. I used to do sound design and there are communities like that, but most of them are forums and Discord servers. Yeah, even with the Strudel thing, it's like a Discord server of people sharing their sounds and their songs. I'm like, this isn't peak community, right? So having like a nice free open source way for people to share their Strudel code would be nice. Do you think junior devs should use agentic coding or is agentic coding just for seniors? I think you can use it as long as you actually like discipline yourself to read the code and understand it. I think you're going to start running into trouble with your project at work if you're just making pull requests for code you don't understand. And then people start asking you to explain that code and you're like, well, I don't know. Like that's going to look bad. So I think you do need to understand what the code's doing at a high level before you just blindly accept it. Why Tanstack and not Next.js? I think Tanstack is a better solution. Next.js is overly complex in my opinion. Maybe they fixed the caching at this point, but I just think Tanstack starts a much better, easier gateway into like, what is it called? Meta frameworks. Why Tanstack, Stowe? Yeah, why Tanstack though, not React Query? I'm using React Query on this project. What's called Tanstack Query now. Tanstack Start just lets you do like the server-side rendering of routes, but I still use Tanstack Query under the hood to do the data fetching. Why aren't you using ADRs for those type of docs? I've tried making, I don't know, I just think it's kind of pointless, honestly. Like I've watched people online generate a bunch of markdown files that describe the features and you can pass it into like test-driven development mode and have it create tests and then it tries to implement the tests that you are writing. It literally just burns through all your tokens. Like it'll just burn through your tokens so much faster. And I rather just like do an iterative approach to building software. And our document-driven development just doesn't sound fun to me. Maybe at a larger project, it's a necessity. But I don't know. Just my personal opinion. How did you land this UI? What does that mean? How did I make it? I am building an app which is the first one I am going to release. What do you recommend for safe end-to-end APIs I'm using? I'm not sure what you're asking there. How do you not burn out on coding outside of work? Oh, I mean, I'm burned out right now on YouTube. I haven't, like, it's been like 2 weeks or more since I published like a video. So I do burn out. But then eventually it comes back. I think for me, doing streams so I can actually like chat with people, I think it helps me get out of burnout. Have you heard of Apex? I haven't heard of that. How did I make the UI this good? I just asked Claude Code to build out a UI and, like, you know. All right, anyway, so in the stream, I want to actually start adding some features. So the first thing I want to do is, as a user, I want to be able to upload a strudel sound to my profile. Okay, so some things I'm going to have to do is get rid of the whole playlist functionality, get rid of the playlist page. We could keep a songs page so I could like upload my own songs. But we're going to have to do a lot of refactoring here. So let's load up Claude. And I actually want to disconnect the IDE because I don't want it to even like look at my files. So the first thing I'm going to do is I want the ability to have my sounds. So in the account dropdown, oops, what did I do? In the top account dropdown, add a link that goes to a My Sounds route. Add a My Sounds route, which allows people to add sounds similar to the My Songs page. List out all the sounds a user has. Create a server function for fetching those sounds. Add a button. If you click it, it takes you to a new route for creating new sounds and uploading sounds. On the Create Sound page, have a text area where someone can enter in their strudel code and a title and a save button. When someone saves it, make sure that you make sure you do client-side validation using a React hook form. And after creating the sound, redirect them to a sound details page. Thank card. And then I'm also going to hack in some context. So, Tanstack. Don't need file upload subscriptions. I'll drag in UX. How about that? Now, I could probably plan this out too, but I'm just going to do a thank card here. We'll see how this goes. I feel like I haven't coded with Claude in like 2 weeks, so. But while that's going, let's go ahead and load up another Claude terminal. And let's poke through here. See what else we can build out. I need to get rid of the whole playlist functionality. Can you refactor the code base and remove the whole bottom playlist functionality? Like completely delete it. Also in the top header, remove the link to the playlist or my playlist. Remove any functionality related to playlists. Remove the music player for playing the playlists. All that logic I need to get rid of, and also update the schema to remove any concept of playlists. I'm just going to throw a thank card on that one too. We're really going to break this app right now. Let's see, browse songs. Cool. I might need to let this one finish. Upload. I might rename this one. I'm just going to load up the header real quick. Find the upload. We got 2 upload links. And I'm going to call it something else. Instead of upload, I'll say like submit. You know what? Never mind. Let's just go back. Go ahead and label those. Not sure what I'm going to do with this one. I guess I can go back to the chat real quick. Are you just using Claude and VS Code? Yep. The voice recognition, I'm using something called Super Whisper. What do you think of a better T stack? I think it's pretty cool. I made a video on it. But for my stack, like I tried to create the actual stack I use and it like couldn't do it. Like it didn't have the concept of server functions when I tried to use better T stack. So for me, I don't find it useful. Maybe they'll add support for that at some point. UltraThink, yeah. Do you use Claude Code at work? I do sometimes. Claude Code and also GPT-5. I found GPT-5 actually like is sometimes my go-to. Because on larger projects at work, it's less about like implementing new features and more about like solving complex bugs and refactoring existing code. And I found GPT-5 is actually pretty good at complex logical things. If you're trying to build something from scratch, like build out new UIs or new features of functionality, I found Claude Code to be very good. So I kind of I bounce back and forth between them, depending on, what I'm trying to do. Even some cool examples. So an experiment that we tried at work is like we get a bug report, right? We get a bug story, outlines like what the issue is, how do you reproduce it. And I actually done this like 3 times where I copy, paste the entire GitHub issue into GPT-5. I copy it in the Claude Code, and then I try to solve it myself. And I'm kind of like racing the LLMs to see who can do it first. And by the time they finish, I found that often I'm already like looking at the files I think the issue is in. And then when the LLM finishes and says, hey, the issue is in this file, that just gives me like some additional confirmation that I'm in the right place. And sometimes it gives me good suggestions. Sometimes it just gives me completely wrong answers of like how to fix the bug. But it's nice having an LLM like traverse your code base and try to understand it and, give you the exact same files that you're already currently looking at. Like another person to kind of like give you some assistance, Claude Code is your favorite? No, I use Cursor and Claude Code together. I like Cursor's tab completion a lot. So like I have a subscription to Claude Code and have a $20 subscription to Cursor. Write at least 300 acceptance tests using BDD. Am I using RPC? I think server functions in a sense are kind of like an RPC, so yes. Thoughts on people saying that Claude Code got dumber? I didn't notice any type of like, what's it called? A degradation of the quality, but I don't know. GPT-5 is so much cheaper right now on most platforms. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be like the common ebb and flow of LLMs. Like there's going to be a new model that comes out. They're going to let you use it for cheap or free so they can get you hooked. And then you'll use that for a while. Like even right now, I'm out of Cursor credits, but like I think GPT-5 is still free for some reason. So I'm like using it as much as I can. But then, Claude, Anthropic's probably going to come out with a new Claude model soon, right? And then we're all going to flock over to that and try that out. Overall, I mean, like, I think we're seeing very marginal updates with all this AI stuff. Like the hype is still going strong, but realistically, like Klein Code, Cursor, Claude, wait 2 weeks and whatever feature you saw in your favorite is going to be copied and vibe coded in whatever other tool that you see out there. Like we're all basically like we're all doing the same thing. I think the real secret sauce is the LLM that you use and knowing when to use it versus when not to use it. Let's see if this is working. Okay, it's creating a sound detail route and page. Removing the playlists. Is this still cooking? Yes, it's still going. Hey, thanks for the super chat. Boggy Phoenix? On front-end interview, I kept getting asked about JS fundamentals, such as closures, this event loop. How did you learn those and not forget them 2 weeks after? I mean, you kind of just have to build stuff, I would say. Like find problems that really utilize those type of things, like closures and the this keyword. Like you're going to use this all the time if you are using like ES6 classes and understanding that the this references like the actual, class object. Event loop, probably just watch a video about that. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. All right. Yeah, this is live. Automated testing that is human written or at least guided by human. Yeah, the one issue I'm seeing with LLMs is that it's very verbose. Like sometimes it'll add too much stuff in. Excuse me, let's see. Isn't it dangerous to give these companies access to your code base, business code base, even if it's read-only? It's still company data. I don't know. It could be if they're storing all your code somewhere or training their models using your code. At work, how often do you guide the AI and how much do you have to get your hands dirty? At work, I would say I only use AI for like 5 or 10% of the tasks, honestly. A project at work is too large. AI just does not do a good job for most of the work that I have to do there. Like I'll use it for a one-off script, like generator script, but then you'll find that like the script is wrong. So then you reprompt AI to fix it and it's still wrong. You reprompt AI for a third time. It gets it almost there. You reprompt it for a fourth time and finally the script works the way you need it. There's definitely a trade-off of using AI. Like it's an iterative approach, I think. Like you have to iterate. No matter what you're doing with AI, you have to iterate because you have to assume it's always going to be wrong or it's going to be missing stuff. And so you keep prompting it based on things that you know it's going to mess up on. And then eventually you'll get to a good solution. But yeah, for some of the tasks at work, it's just faster just to either do it by hand. Oh, what do you think the best way to improve at coding? Just code more, build stuff. Called being a loss leader. I'm not sure if that was a reference to. Probably something I said. Cody, why'd you never get into Fang? I don't know. I never tried, honestly. I just didn't care. In 2015, I got a remote job, and I would rather do remote over like having to move somewhere, honestly. And this is back in like, I don't think remote was really big back in 2015. So I felt like I was very fortunate to get a remote job back then. When will your course launch? I don't know. There's so much I have to do with it. What I was asking earlier is how do you protect your routes? Like, is there a better alternative to TRPC? I mean, you can protect your routes with whatever you want. If you're using REST, you can use a middleware to make sure that your calls have authentication, and then you can use the authenticated user data to check to make sure they have the right role or permissions. I use AI quite a lot, but for small chunks because it is really not ready to produce production-ready code. Yeah. Yeah, until LLMs can get like 90 to 95% accuracy in like generating working code, I just don't see it replacing much of anything. It's like a nice tool you can use on the side to get a different perspective on solving a bug or implementing a feature or having it review your code. But I have seen it hallucinate enough and cause enough issues and have like bugs in scripts and bugs in your API endpoints that you just literally you cannot rely on AI. You have to review every line of code written. You have to do an iterative approach over and over again to have it fix the things it messed up on. And sometimes it's actually faster to do the work yourself. Sometimes it's slower to do the work yourself. And you get good at the understanding like when the LLM is going to do a good job of what you requested it to do and when it's not going to do a good job. Hey, thank you for following me. I think you rock at Fang typed companies with big boss. Your system design video has been so helpful and just your videos in general. Yeah, I don't know. Like, does anyone in chat, do you work at Google? Do you work at Netflix? Do you work at Microsoft? I don't like when there's a bunch of bureaucracy and red tape to get work done. Like, I don't want to have to go and get an approval to bring in a third-party library. I don't want to get approval for creating a new thing in AWS to test out or experiment. I think like that just it's soul draining. Like have to go through like a review process and like talk to architects and it's like, bro, I could have had this done in an hour, but now it's taking 2 weeks to get something done because there's so much red tape and bureaucracy behind everything. So I don't think I'd really thrive at a big company like that. But I guess I could be wrong. Maybe there's not that much red tape at Google. I just know there's people out there where like when it's build week or release week, I think my dad had this at his company where they'd actually spend like 2 months doing nothing, literally nothing, because the whole product had to be shipped over to the QA team and they had to go through all the test scenarios. And during that time, like, I think their project took like hours, if not days, to fully build and compile and everything. And they just literally sit around and just like read the news and read articles. And it's like, that's not a place I want to work. I want to be able to have an idea and ship it. So I think I'd thrive at a startup or like a smaller company or a smaller project. Sure, but you're getting paid for time, not how much you do. So what's wrong with delays? I mean, if you want to live your life just getting paid for time, like, sure. I want to live my life knowing that I'm making an impact in something, whether that's an impact in users. I don't know. Just getting a paycheck's just not something to live your life for. Like it's cool to be able to get a paycheck, but you want to have more than that, honestly. Yeah, my dad was a software engineer. My brother's a software engineer. I don't know. I think different people have different ambitions, right? Some people they're okay with just getting a paycheck. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm doing my job. Like, no, I rather the thing I have to do 8 hours a day, 5 times a week. Like, I want it to actually have an impact in something. I'm like, I'm not here for a paycheck. I actually want to have impact in society because life is too short to sit around and not like impact the trajectory of humans, you know? That's just my opinion. That's also why I tried to do YouTube. I wanted to make an impact trying to teach people how to code, you know? All right, let's see if this thing broke everything. So I asked for two pretty big major features. I asked it to remove all the playlist stuff, and I asked it to create sounds. So the first thing I'd probably do is check out the schema to see if it added like a sounds. It did. It has strudel code. Text not null. Yeah, I think I could probably do an npm run migrate here. Npm run db migrate if it hasn't already been ran. And then I can go back to my app. My sounds. Let's create a sound. Testing. Let's go back to strudel. Actually, let me just do a const. Let's do this. I'll say kick. Sound. Bass drum. 4 times. That's pretty fast. Why is this so slow? Is it not by 60? Oh, it's supposed to be. There we go. All right, so let's just get this bass drum. I'll just say bass drum. Create the sound. And now I can copy the code and edit it if I own it. Deleting. Okay, let's go back and change that. So I'm on the sound, edit sound page. I'm going to go to the terminal that was related to what we just did because we have all the context of what it just did. When I try to delete the sound, be sure you show a shad-c and delete confirmation dialog. Okay. Then I'll go back. Cancel. Why do I have a cancel button here? Like, I find this kind of weird. There's a cancel button here. There's a cancel button down here. Like, we don't need that many cancel buttons. So, like, let's find that cancel button. And I could prompt AI to do this, but I'm already kind of using that context window. So let's just go to edit here. And you have the ability to code. And, like, you know, you don't have to, like, do AI for everything. So, like, just delete the code. That's gone. Press cancel. Make sure this all works. Can I save it? Sound updated. Your sound has been changed. I kind of would rather this save it and navigate back. So still, I'm going to say, after saving the sound editing successfully, please navigate back to the sound detail page. You can do concurrent requests. It kind of like queues them up. So that should hopefully fix my issues with the dialogue and redirecting. I don't like how the cancel button is on the right. I think my pattern has been like cancel button is on the left. So I am going to swap the order of this. Where's cancel? Let's just swap this up. Okay. Didn't need AI to do that. Little issue with the access denied here. What's going on here? Back to sound. You don't have permission. I mean, I could try to fix this ourselves. I think it's just like a loading condition issue. So if I go to the index here, the loader, ensure query, access denied. What is that screen? You don't have permission to edit the sound. Oh, I'm on that. Hold on. This whole section's kind of weird. I don't know why this is over here. Okay, we got the delete confirmation. You can delete the sound. Takes you back to my sounds. Use state is not defined. I think this is because the server was like... No, it's kind of messed up. All right, let's go to my sounds. Figure out what's going on there. Use state is not defined. I mean, it's definitely defined. That's weird. I think my server is restarting, so that's kind of messed up. I don't like how the toasts are in the top right. I had to do that because the sound player, but now like the toasts, I'll do just the default, which is like the bottom right. All right, so now I should be able to create a sound. There we go, toast is on the bottom. Copy code, right panel. Yeah, what I'm gonna do is, let's go here. I'm gonna compact this real quick. I think we're good. Removing the playlist stuff. Let's make sure this is all gone. Playlist is gone. Make sure I can't like play. Yeah, we'll have to come back and refactor this, but I'm gonna go in the header instead of browse. Yeah, instead of browsing the songs, I wanna browse sounds. So we're actually going to clear this. Can you refactor the browse songs to instead be a browse songs and update the header to say... Actually, never mind, don't update the header. Yeah, so all the songs, instead of loading the songs from the server function, load the sounds, and you don't need to show like a profile, you don't need to show an icon. Let me redo the whole thing. What am I even saying here? Refactor the browse songs route to, instead of fetching songs created by users, fetch sounds. Rename it to browse sounds. In the song card, refactor it to be a sound card. You don't need to show any type of image. Just show the name of the sound, a little snippet of the sound, a button that when you click it will redirect you to the strudel.cc website with the hash symbol and the code of the sound base64 encoded, and open that in a new tab when they click on this play or preview. Remove the number of plays count. I know, it's probably good. Let's just kick that one off. All right, what else are we doing here? Okay, view the sounds. What is this doing? 4 characters. Yeah, I think this right panel just needs to go away. Like, we could have the sound info, like when it was created. But the other stuff... Can you remove the right panel? Can you refactor the right panel to just have the sound information panel? I don't need that giant red placeholder for the sound thumbnail. And I don't need any additional buttons there. Oh no, I put it in the wrong place. So basically, I'm trying to tell it. You could also give it a screenshot too. I probably should just take a screenshot of that and just say, hey, remove this. But while that's cooking, I might also add in the ability for people to leave comments on a sound. Can you add in the ability for people to leave comments on a sound? Keep it a single thread of comments. I don't need nested threads. And then also when you're displaying the comment, make sure you display the user's name and their avatar. Allow them to edit a comment that they own so they can come back through and later edit their comments. That's probably good. I probably should have told it what page, but hopefully it kind of gets the idea. Is this one still going? What'd I ask it here? Oh, yeah. Sound info. Is this stuff even useful? When the sound was created, when it was updated? Yeah, I just don't know if this is even useful at this point, so I might actually just remove it. I do want this to be styled nicely with TypeScript, so like if I were to go and edit this, let's just grab this, save it. This needs to be styled better. So like, let's go ahead and take a screenshot of this, and we are going to, well, what's going on here? Can you bring in some type of code mirror or nice React syntax highlighting library so that I can style the code in a nice TypeScript syntax? Did I kick something out? What's it doing here? Oh, I think I'm putting this in the wrong place. Let me just do here. Sounds, what we're going to do, we were going to... I might actually just tag this whole file here. Let me clear that out. So the base64 stuff might be done. Go to browse, plain strudel. Yeah, let's make another one. I'm going to go to upload. This upload, yeah, the upload needs to change. Let's go to my sounds, create a sound. Hi-hat. Create the sound. Nice. All right, it's looking better. I'm sure there's a way I could actually have this like play directly in the browser using an iframe or something, but I think this is fine. Let's see, what else can we do? I do want to be able to like... Oh, I need to be able to click it. Play in strudel. Can you add 2 buttons to this card? I want one for playing in strudel, but also another one so I can go and look at the sound info page. Okay, what is this one doing? Adding comments. Oh yeah, so that one's adding comments. Again, let me just say comments. I don't forget the context there. But yeah, there's no way to like click on this and go to the actual page, which is kind of bad. So hopefully that'll be fixed soon. Page is kind of broken. Down comments. I think it's still trying to do comments here. I'll check the chat in a second. I just want to kind of get some features done. I'm just showing you the process. This is like a legit process that I do when working on side projects. Sometimes I've had like 6 terminals open, each modifying various pages. And then as they finish, I go and check out that page. Sometimes it's problematic. Sometimes it is problematic because as these things are changing your Tanstack start code and saving the changes, your server will refresh and then your browser will refresh. So if you have like a bunch of these things going off concurrently, it can be kind of a pain. There are different ways that you can actually have different Git trees. So you can actually have the same application running multiple times on different ports. It's just more setup because you have to have a separate database on a different port. You need to make sure your server is running on a different port. You've connected all that with different ports for your environment variables. So for side projects, this is my main workflow. If I have too many concurrent Claude instances running and modifying code, I'll just wait. Or maybe I'll just like poke around the code a little bit and kind of see what's going on. You can also review code, right? It's probably better if you don't have all these features being changed to a single commit. But again, on a side project, and I'm the only one working on this, it doesn't really matter, right? And so I would probably... Why would this be updated? Interesting. But I would probably try to go through this code at some point. But let me finish this. I think the browse is done. Comments is still struggling to do a db drizzle kit, so I'm gonna stop that one. npm run db migrate. Let's see if that's actually gonna run. Cool. Sound component does not exist, so I'm actually gonna go and just like look at the sound comment. Yeah, gotta fix that. So I have seen it, let's import stuff from the wrong place. There's no put method. There's no delete method. So like the AI can't be 100% correct every time. Like you do have to go and babysit it. And now we have a nice like text syntax highlighting going, which is nice. We got comments here that are just kind of broken. Why did that take so long? Cannot read property of undefined reading insert. So I think there's some more issues with like how this is working. Update sound comments function. Find comments by ID. Update sound. Is there a create sound? Generates this, creates the sound here, tries to insert into the sound comment. Oh. Yeah. Let me do this. This needs to say database. This is something I cannot figure out for the life of me why Claude keeps importing stuff improperly. Like for some reason, I must have some bad... Like I don't have import db anywhere in my code base, but I have seen this multiple times where it tries to load in and create a data access function, and it just keeps doing like import db from. So then I have to go and manually fix it. I mean, that's all outlined. If I go to, I think I have a persistence, or is it Tanstack? I thought I have import database kind of mapped out, but I might not. Yeah, I need to add context so that it knows how to properly import data access. You know, I could just probably do that right now. I'm going to say data access.md, and then I'm going to say, can you look through my existing code base in this project and get some good examples of how we are creating files in the data access layer? What is the purpose of the data access folder, and how you can properly write functions that'll use the proper imports to connect to Drizzle and store and retrieve stuff from the database. Document this all in the data access MD file so I can use it later. Okay, what was I doing though? So the comments is what I was trying to add in, but like, I don't know why it sits there just spinning. That's kind of slow. And I know I said I'm going to check chat in a second. I just haven't gotten around to it. Yeah, there's definitely something wrong here. So we tried to fetch. We're getting an error. Sound comment does not exist. So I think I could probably ask AI to fix this, but instead I might actually just add a relationship because I think it's missing a sound comment relationship. Sound comment relationship. Okay, this is why I like cursor's tab completion, because now I could just like do that. Do I already have one? I do already have one. That's not the issue. Oh, why'd I do that? I stopped the wrong thing. That's fine. We'll just kick it back off again. So I wonder if generate failed. Oh, okay, generate failed to run, so I have to manually do it. I'm creating a new table called sound comment, and now I can run the migrate. And I might as well just restart my server just in case it's broken. So I should be able to leave a comment now on my sounds. Let's see. Testing. Post a comment. Okay, there we go. Can delete it. Can edit it. Nice. Yeah, why is the avatar not showing? I'm gonna throw a screenshot of that into the comments one. Can you please fix the avatar? For some reason, it's not showing the image. Use my existing code base and look for where I'm fetching. I think I have a custom hook that'll figure out the proper way to show the image. It might involve a pre-signed URL, so check my hooks folder. That'll be a quick fix. It's probably something simple. Let's go back over here. Browse. I got two buttons here. View details, plain strudel. I'm going to add a plain strudel button to this sound page as well. So which one should we do? Let's clear this one. And then I'm not connected to the IDE. So I could connect. Make sure you're on the right file here. You'll see in blue. Can you please add a button called Play in Strudel, which does a similar functionality to the sound card, which will open up Strudel in a new tab with the base64 encoded code so that people can actually play the sounds directly in Strudel? All right, let me go to chat now. I've been kind of like vibing pretty hard. Okay. Have I tried Codex? No, I haven't tried Codex yet. What's up, Razzo? What do you think about the new role in software engineering called Vibe Coding Cleanup Specialist? I mean, it's just going to be called Senior Engineer, right? If you're committing vibe coded code and you're not reviewing it, you're probably not a senior engineer. So I don't think the roles are changing at all. It's just a matter of how sloppy of a developer are you going to allow your employees to become. David doesn't like you, by the way. Thoughts? Who's David? I don't know who David is. I'm not sure if you've been talking to me. Can you show some server actions that you are using? I'm kind of confused. How does it work? Yeah, so they're called server functions in Tanstack Start. But you'll see, for example, if I go to the edit page, I'm probably importing a server function somewhere. Where am I? Am I really not importing any server functions? There's no way. On submit. Yeah, this is it. Use update sound. Okay, so when I try to submit the edit for a sound, I have update sound mutation. That's wrapped in a custom hook. And overall, the way server functions work is you have this function you can call directly in your front-end code, and that is going to actually invoke your backend. So it's like an abstraction. It's like a remote procedure call that abstracts away the HTTP call. But you can define like what inputs are required for the server function to run, what middlewares you need to run. So for example, some server functions I make sure a user is authenticated. Other ones we don't care about authentication for, but you got to be authenticated. And once you're authenticated, we can use your user ID to, create the sound or whatnot. First, check if the sound exists or belongs to the user. One thing I'm kind of looking at here. Oh yeah, this is fine. So that's kind of how it works, right? You define these things, and then when you invoke them from your front end, you can see in your network tab, it's basically just calling this weird like URL. It has underscore server function, and then it has like the name of your server function. Actually, it's here. And then you'll see it send over the payload. You got some data in here, and then you get a response back. So it's just basically doing a small abstraction over like writing all that manual fetch logic that you probably do in your applications to a REST API. Hold on. Does context 7 help? It does sometimes. Honestly, what I found is that I would rather just go to the docs at this point. There's so many times where I ask AI to integrate with a new library or a new framework, and it just doesn't do it. Like, it just breaks. And then I have to go and read the docs myself and try to fix the stuff that it messes up on. Context 7 can help find the latest up-to-date documentation on things. But even with that, I have seen the LLM still generate bad code and hallucinations on stuff. And so I would say that if it's not something that's already in your code base, like something that you've have a pattern in your code base you've done multiple times, if you're asking something brand new, context 7 can help, but at the end of the day, like, it's still, you get bad results. As a vibe coder learning to code, I haven't figured out the right settings of env in choosing tech stack and deployment on AWS or VPS. Any tips? I mean, I would probably just use a hosted service like Railway or Fly.io, Netlify. What do you look for in revies? What's a revie? How do you identify slop? Yeah, it's RPC based. I mean, to identify slop, you have to know how to write good code, right? You have to know how to write good React code, good backend code. And also, slop is kind of an opinion too, right? Some people think that a certain style of coding is sloppy. Other people think some code's not sloppy. One thing for sure, if you have like magic numbers and stuff that you've been copying and pasting all over your code base, that is definitely slop, right? If you have the same thing you've noticed, basically the LLM has copied in like 4 different places, you should probably dry that up, pull that out to a utility function, make a reusable component of it, pull it out into a configuration or a constants file. You should not have many like magic numbers in your code base. Like this, it's kind of a hard-coded URL, and I bet you if I search for it, there's probably 2 places. So now we have 2 duplicate strudel URLs. This is something that I will consider slop, which, I mean, a junior dev would write this, an LLM will write this, and you have to figure out a way of like, can I abstract this? Yeah, there's this exact code is basically copied in 2 places. And so this is something you could probably like refactor yourself. I'll say Claude refactor. What is this doing? Let's go here. I'll clear this out, connect the IDE. Can you please refactor this code and also in the sound card into a reusable utility for opening up the code in Base64 encoding it in a new tab, and then refactor those 2 places where we're using the strudel.cc URL. This one I probably could have refactored myself faster, but again, just if you're actually in like the flow state and like you have like 6 terminals going, you just kick off another one, give it reference to this, give it a reference to this, say refactor these, and it'll pull out to a utility function. It'll import that utility and use it, which can just clean up your code. And so you do got to review your code. I mean, right now we have like what, 30 file changes. And I'm just kind of going fast and dirty on this, but like you should slow down. You should review the code and make sure that nothing looks pretty bad. I don't like this. I mean, this looks nasty. But I do think adding tags to songs. So for example, if I'm going to go and upload a new sound, let me actually refactor this one. I'm going to make a new terminal over here. I'm going to say, can you please refactor the upload button in the header? Instead, call it, I don't know, share sound or something cool. Use your best marketing research and knowledge to figure out what this should be called, which will take you to a page where a user can upload a new sound into the system, repurpose the upload song page, and remove all the file upload logic, and instead just allow them to paste in some strudel TypeScript code into a text area with a title. Remember, we already have a create sound page that can be accessed from the dropdown in the header. So make sure you reuse as much code as that as possible. In fact, you can create a reusable component or form so that both use the same type of create logic for creating the sound. I don't know if I really explained that one too well, but I mean, just throw in a thank card and kick it off, and it'll get it done. What else did I ask it to do? Oh, I wanted to do tags. That's what I wanted. I'm gonna clear this out. And then we are going to go back to edit. This edit sounds. Yeah, so we're gonna go here. I want the ability for a user to be able to add tags to sounds, and these tags can be, for example, drums could be a tag name. I want the tag name to be configurable. They can type in whatever they want into some type of type ahead or drop down. Make sure you look into Shadsian's existing components to implement this without building something yourself. And then when someone's editing a song, or sorry, when someone's editing a sound or creating a brand new sound, allow them to tag their sound with any existing tag that's already in the system, or they can create their own. Tags are optional. Thank card. Okay, so that should be able to do it in one shot. It'll be done pretty soon. Made a Shadsian theme based on your colors, so the app isn't all black. Let me copy this link. Yeah, this looks pretty cool. Let me go to the color palette. How do I actually like... How do I get the actual color palette? You know what I mean? Tweakcn.com. Yeah, this is nice, but like, how do I get the... How do I get the palette? Code? Oh, here it is. Theme inline, dark. Yeah, let's just try this out. That'd be cool. Dark, root, theme inline. Oh, well, it looked pretty cool when I added in. Z is not defined. Upload. I think it's still cooking. I'll just let it finish. Also has light mode. Nice. Looks pretty good. I think I might have some comments about accessibility, but I mean, it seems like it's pretty good. Thanks for that. I'd probably have to refactor code mirror to make it look a little, match the theme a little bit better. Oh, let me go back here. Is Tanstack ready for production? I mean, it's still beta, so I guess you can judge that based on your expectations on beta frameworks or not. I would probably wait for it to get out of beta for like a real large-scale application, but I mean, at this point, I would pick Tanstack over Next.js, honestly. I hate Next.js. Would you be willing to try out Nux 4? I've tried out Nux before. It's pretty good. I got nothing against the Vue ecosystem. I think Vue is a great framework. I think Nux is a great meta framework. I'm just I'm kind of like so ingrained in the React ecosystem that it doesn't make sense for me in terms of my career or my content on this channel to switch to anything Vue related. I'm using Super Whisper for my audio to text. I started learning RPC with Next.js. My client is saying type unknown. Is agentic coding better for back-end engineering or front-end engineering? I mean, you can use it for both. What VS Code color theme? This is called Bearded Theme Stained Blue. Band had trouble with large frameworks, especially if not shared. I think I need to make requirements docs that every request much used. Be mad. Oh, yeah, I mean, I watched some videos about BMAT. I watched some other videos, and then I tried to find them building something with it, and there's literally no examples of them building anything with it. But I think these people are actually like snake oil salesmen at this point. No offense to them. But the content creators you see promoting BMAT and promoting all these other like spec-driven development tools, if I can't watch you actually code live and build something with it, I just don't trust you. Sorry. Like, it might be great. BMAT might be great. But if I see video after video after video of you promoting it, and then I see literally no examples of you building something of substance with it, I don't trust BMAT. I don't trust these things. Because I have seen AI and LLMs give me enough garbage and hallucinate enough where I don't believe having a spec file is enough to like get this working. Like you have to go through the code and like fix stuff by hand. Maybe it's great for like larger organizations or something and larger projects, but for a side project, what I'm doing right now with just like prompting stuff, I think it's good enough. Okay, yeah, so this one's adding tags. This one, I don't know what it's doing. Cody, do you have programming book recommendations? No, not really. I don't really read. You could probably like buy the Gang of Four design patterns if you're into the whole object-oriented programming ecosystem. Maybe you're going to work in a Java code base or C# code base. It's probably good to know the Gang of Four patterns. But yeah, I don't really read much. I don't think you need to buy a book. Like you literally have an LLM you can chat with. And from my experience with coding books, the amount of pages that's in the book is actually a bunch of fluff and stuff that doesn't matter. But there's only like a small subset of actual substance that's useful. That's what I have found from reading books. I would rather just ask LLMs to give me overviews of how to make a more reliable system, how to scale systems, how does decoupling work, how does a message broker work, why would you use a message broker? These like individual thoughts that come into your mind that you can ask an LLM to answer is a much better way to expedite your knowledge, in my opinion, versus reading a giant book, which half the stuff is just fluff. But if you like books, read a book. Plus, books go outdated with how fast stuff is moving. Like, you're going to read a book and it's just going to get outdated. Hey, thank you, Impulse. Can you guys see me? Yes. Inspect source. Stupid audio. Let's see. Hold on. What's more complex than Next.js and Tanstack? The caching was a nightmare in Next.js. We run into security issues with the middleware being very complex to understand. Hooked on top of that, you have a CDN typically. The server actions in Next.js, they don't run concurrently. So if you have like a UI where you want to have a button a user can click multiple times, it runs every server action sequentially, which is a pain in the ass. What else is there in Next.js? The whole use client that you have to put in the top of things is just super annoying. So when you try to import like a third-party library and they don't have use client, you end up having to like wrap the third-party library in your own components and then put use client on the top of those so you can actually use it. Additionally, if you just want to like refresh or refetch something very specific in your UI, typically you have to call like an invalidate path or like write your own custom logic to like fetch new data or do like a router.refresh, which would then like pull in the, it's just, I don't know. I just don't like it. I think it's very complicated. And I think Tanstack start just makes a lot more sense. Is there any convex alternative which works with Drizzle where related queries auto refresh after mutations? I think there are like, I think there is something that you can like put in front of Postgres. I just watched a video on it. I don't know what it's called. If you go watch the Syntax channel, I think their channel's name is Syntax. He built like a CSS battle type of application, which used some type of real-time local first sync engine. Honestly, I would just go Google sync engine with Postgres. There are libraries out there. I have seen them. I don't remember the names of them. Sync engine with that works on top of Postgres if you don't want convex for some reason. Zero. Worse is that people that do Java look on JavaScript developers as trash. I mean, every language has their own warts to them, I guess. A lot of people consider JavaScript node developers as like garbage developers. I just think we're dealing with some garbage language. And I think the barrier of entry of using JavaScript and TypeScript is much lower. So you have a lot more people who don't know what they're doing coding in this language. But I mean, there's also Java developers who suck. Like you ask them to do something, it takes them like 5 days to do the most simplest task. So it goes both ways. Regardless of the language, there's good developers and there's bad developers. Just a matter of knowing the language good or well enough so that you're proficient. All right, this stuff looks like it's done. So what did we add? We added comments. So if I go here and edit this, can we actually like post a comment? Tags. We could say drums. Yeah, I think we want to display the tags here. So let's go clear this sound slash. Can you please display the tags that are attached to this sound on this page somewhere? Display the tags, or at least the first couple of tags that are related inside the sound card. Great beat. I'm going to call it sound. I'm going to call it submit sound. Cool, cool. No tags found. Why is the drums tag that I just created not there? Electric SQL, yeah. That's what it's called. Are you using Claude Code CLI and Cursor? I am. What do you think about event-driven architecture and heavy use of pipelines and transformations like RxJX? I don't know. Maybe I've used RSJX in the past a long time ago. I thought it was convoluted. I thought it was over-engineering. But this was also back early in my career where I didn't really understand the problem it was solving. So if I took time, I could probably go and investigate, like, what is the problem RSJX was trying to solve? And I just wasn't convinced that the problem was big enough that we needed like this more convoluted way to like solve it. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I don't have a strong opinion on it. I just know at the time something felt wrong about it. And that's as far as I can kind of argue my opinion on that. What is a speech-to-text app? It's called Super Whisper. Okay, we got the tags over here. Awesome. Oh, you should be able to click the tags. That'd be probably pretty cool. What did I do last on this one? Sidebar, yeah. When I click on a tag, can you navigate me to the sounds page and add a query string with the tag I have selected and auto filter all the sounds based on that tag? There we go. What is this background task thing that's going on? Drums. Detail. Yeah, I need to add like some type of way to filter tags here. I think hopefully that will kick that off. This card looks bad. I don't know a better way to do this. I think clicking on the card should take us to the detail page. I don't know. I have to think about the user experience here. Like, if I'm browsing sounds, I want the fastest way to be able to just demo the sound, to hear it. And removing one click from having to go and first go to the details, that's kind of like what I'm debating in my head. So I think playing directly to Strudel from this is important. It looks, there's too much going on here. It's kind of overwhelming. I could add like a top drop down button here, but again, I don't know if that's adding another click. But at least I don't have to leave the page, so the context is still there in the user's head. But again, I like to code in an iterative approach. Some people like to think about every little edge case and draw out designs in Figma and then take screenshots and have this giant markdown of every single requirement of your system. And then you go and you give that to your LLM and you realize that you didn't even design it well from the beginning. So then you have to waste a bunch of time going back and redesigning it versus I like the iterative approach of building stuff. Build it as fast as possible, play around with it. If it feels wrong, iterate on it, change it, and then get it shipped in front of developer or get it in front of your users. Try to get real feedback from them and iterate again on it. Click to go details play button on bottom right. Yeah, I could do that. Also, I don't know if showing the code here is very valuable. Like, okay. Maybe I could have a little dialogue when you click it. It'll show you the code real quick. This page looks kind of rough too. Like I'd have to probably improve this. But I'll get a better understanding of how I'm going to use this once I start adding my sounds to it, because I do have like another repository where I have all my Strudel code. And I do plan to start adding all of my beats and my sounds and my effects and filters of how I'm doing stuff, and then my songs. And then I'll get a better understanding of like how I want this app to kind of function. What do you think is the best production ready full stack? Probably Laravel, honestly. If I'm being honest, I think Laravel has probably the most robust ecosystem, has been around for a long time. Has every extension and plugin you need. It integrates good with React and Vue using whatever their data layer is called again, I forget. Like I honestly, I love the Node and JavaScript TypeScript ecosystem. I just think that there's too much shiny object syndrome and people drop and libraries are no longer maintained after like a year or two. And the NPM ecosystem has so many supply chain attack vulnerabilities that could potentially pop up in the future. I don't know. It's just a lot more to think about. Like I like the approach of like Node.js and you can just like npm install all these small packages. But in terms of like having something that already has every bell and whistle attached to it, I think Laravel actually has that. If you want to write PHP code. Razor pages with EF Core. I haven't tried Razor yet. That's a C# Microsoft thing, right? Can you elaborate more on Next.js server functions are not concurrent? I mean, unless they fixed it, but like make a button and when you click it, have it call a server function that runs for a second. So add like a fake second promise in it. And then click that button 5 times. Look at your network tab and you'll see request 1, waits a second, and then it finishes. And then it goes to request 2, and then request 3, request 4, request 5, and that's done. If you want to have them run in parallel, you have to like do this weird hacky logic to have your server function return an unresolved promise, and then your front end has to take that promise and like await on it. And then you can actually like fire them all off in parallel. I don't know. I used Next.js for a while on my channel. Honestly, I used it for like over 2 years. And you just run to like thing after thing, and you're like, dude, I'm just so tired of this. Like even getting it deployed to a VPS at the time was problematic because like the middleware functions don't run Node.js code. So you can't even like try to connect to your database to do like an auth check in the middleware. And then people say, well, you're not supposed to do that in the middleware. It's supposed to be like a really simple function. I don't know. You guys can use Next.js if you want, though. I'm not saying it's bad. Could you quickly go over Claude code setup for the project, hook subagents, MCP? To be honest, all the Claude code stuff, I really don't even use. I don't use agents. I think they're just, it feels like a bell and whistle to me. That's like not very useful. Commands, I hardly use. I do have some commands set up where I can like have it refactor a file that I think is getting too large. I think the main takeaway for commands and agents is that you can automate things really easily. And so if you're during your workflow, you notice that you're like reprompting the same thing over and over again. Hey, thanks for the raid, Majestic Coding Twitch with 5 viewers. How's it going? But yeah, I mean, I think the thing is like if you find yourself reprompting the same thing over and over again to get good results, that's when you could probably create a command, or you could create a sub agent. For me, I think just having good documentation and just like clicking and dragging it into your prompt when you know you might need it, it's better than a sub agent. Sometimes the sub agents don't even like run when you tell them to run. They also run slower like than your actual like main Claude thread from what I've read. But I don't know. I could be convinced otherwise, but I just don't see people like churning out code. And I don't have time to sit here and play around with it for 8 hours. Like I've tried playing around with it. You get bad results and you're like, this seems kind of pointless, you know? There we go. Tag drums. We have the drums here. We can filter that out. I am going to go into the browse page. Let's go here. refactor, or sorry, in the browse page in the top, I need you to add the ability for a user to search for sounds by both the title and also by tags. So there should be a type ahead for the tags that they can type in and get autocomplete and then click on a tag to add it to their filter, but then also an input box with the search button. They can then type in a substring of a title, which will do a performant SQL lookup on the title column in the sound table and return the results that match. These cards look pretty bad, not gonna lie. I often tell Claude to summarize the fixes it had to solve from its own mistakes and document it in Claude Hook. You always check that before. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Any UI experts think click and hold is a good feature? Click and hold for what? Like deleting stuff? I don't think so. I personally don't like, I've used apps where you have to click and hold to do actions. I don't like it. It's not intuitive. The user expects click, something happens, not click and hold. But I mean, maybe for some instances it's useful. I think showing the code there is nice. Should add a copy to clipboard button. Yeah, that might be a good idea. What stack to use at work? Right now, it's React single page application. Probably using ES. I think we're using ES build to build it up. And then the backend is Express. Everything's deployed to AWS. Doing a lot of serverless stuff using RDS and Dynamo. Lambdas, SQS for some like asynchronous work. SES for sitting on emails. Terraform for all the infrastructure as code. GitHub Actions and Circle CI for actual like building and deploying stuff. Is using cursor is good these days? I mean, I'm still using it. I'll stop using it when I don't find it useful. The tab complete and cursor is really nice. And then also having access to be able to use various models like GPT-5 has been really nice as well. I kind of use, I mean, there's other tools, like you don't have to use Claude Code in the terminal. You could use something like OpenCode, which gives you access to all the models as well. You can like configure it. But yeah, having the cursor autocomplete I find very useful, and also like the inline editing I find very useful as well. Enough so that I would pay $20 a month. Like I do pay $20 a month to have the basic cursor subscription. Is this Claude Sonnet 4? I mean, it uses Opus for the first couple of requests, and then it uses Sonnet 4, yes. React is all you need. I'd say the only time to use Next or Astro is when you have to load a lot of images media. Yeah, I mean, these meta frameworks with like the server-side rendering, it's good for like search engine optimization and like you want to have a page load as fast as possible because the web crawlers will rank it better when it loads fast and it's just a better user experience. But I don't know, there's something about Tanstack Start I think makes the decoupling and refreshing stuff a lot simpler. I frequently send selected code as context to the agent cursor. Yeah, I mean, you can do that with Claude Code too. I mean, Claude Code, you can connect it to your IDE and you can like highlight code and prompt questions on that too. I will say that the way I'm using Claude Code is probably not how other people use it. There's this like Claude extension here you can use. I just don't like this. I just like using the terminal down here, honestly. But sometimes it gets really messed up. Like you'll see like the scroll back gets all like jittery. Like you see those like little glitches. Don't know how to fix that. It's kind of terrible, but it gets the job done. And then also when I click on a terminal, like sometimes they'll start like send me back to the very start. So I don't know. Cannot reappropriate undefined trim. Okay, I think something got broke here. Might just ask it to fix this. Can you fix this issue? I think it's related to when you allowed people to browse based on tags and titles. Doesn't even tell me like what component that's failing on. Oh, I guess it does right here. Sounds, yes. Search. I probably could have just pasted this whole thing into. I think you can give it more context when it's running, and it'll like use that to maybe solve the problem. Yeah, I have to zoom in. I have to zoom in so people can read the code. And like some people watch the YouTube coding stuff on their phone. So I'd probably zoom out one more. My eyesight's not the best though, so it's like I think this is a sweet spot for me. And I just get used to like collapsing stuff. Like, okay, I don't want that. I'll collapse it and bring it back. Sometimes when I want split panels though, like I have to zoom out. Like there's no way I can read that code that zoomed in. I'm using a virtualized keyboard. It's called Clack app. It's like a $10 virtualized app that you can use up here, and you can switch your switches. It's kind of weird. I'm just using my MacBook laptop, mainly because I think it's the best way to type. Like I've tried using a mechanical keyboard. It feels like you're doing a workout trying to code. It's like it's not fun. But maybe that was the switches I was using. I may get Claude Basic. Yeah, I started with Claude $20 a month, but then I'm like, I ran out of tokens so fast. It's like they lock you out after 5 hours, 4 or 5 hours if you hit your limit. And I'm like, man, I gotta upgrade. So then I went to the 100. I think it's worth it, especially if you're an engineer in America. Like $100 a month for the assistance that you're getting, I think is definitely worth it. You can have a monorepo with front end and API without Next. Yeah. Express still used in enterprise in 2025? Yeah, I'm sure it is. I mean, probably now, today, there's like Hano. There's, what's the other one? Nest.js. I find Python, Django, and Fast API is much easier to understand any thought. I don't like Django. I don't like Python. That's all I'll say about that. But I think they're good. I mean, you can get the job done, right? To verify it's me. My stream still going? Should be. I'm at Claude Max 250. Yeah. I mean, I honestly, at work, I don't use AI and Claude that much just because like the code base is too complex to really like feel like I'm being productive prompting. But for side projects that I only work on like after work and late at night or on a stream, I think the $100 works fine. If I was getting serious and I was working 8 hours a day on a side project and trying to really like get it done as fast as possible, then yeah, I could see myself upgrading. The search panel could use some... I don't know if I like it too much, honestly. Can you actually refactor the top search panel to be a left side panel and then have all of the results be on the right? And then if there's nothing showing in the results, make sure you have a nice placeholder image and text that describes why there's nothing showing up. If someone has the search inputs or tags entered and no results show up, have a button that says clear search values so they can like reset their search. I'll play around with this a little bit. I run Python with Flask on a self-hosted machine with Cloudflare tunnel to domains I have. Yeah, that's cool. E-Echo. I'll have to check that out. I tried building one in Go a while back, which like listened for your keyboard stroke events and then it would play sound files based on them. And I wanted to actually make one, like by far the most asked question I get on my channel is what keyboard am I using? Because I like the sounds. And I was like, okay, this is actually a good signal that I should build my own and try to market it on my channel. But I'm like, I don't have time to sit here with a microphone and record various keyboards. Like I have to go buy a keyboard and like record the keystrokes and edit them and get it sounding perfect. And I'm like, I just use Clack app. It's just easier. But I feel like I could probably sell you guys something. If I could get the sounding good enough as Clack app, like I could probably sell a virtualized keyboard too. Yeah, I'm using Cursor for like 9 months and it really helped me a lot in automating a bunch of stuff and helped me with stuff I don't know. Yeah, for sure. I mean, AI has helped me with a ton of stuff. You know, the Claude code window that opens with the extension is just an IDE connected terminal, right? You can drag it into your... Oh, really? See, this is why I stream. Okay. I love how it doesn't show, though, until I open a file. Wow. But how do I open it? The issue is I want to open it in danger mode. How do I do that? Is there a way to configure this button so that when it runs Claude code, it uses the dangerously accept permission stuff? Hmm. Okay, this is looking nice. I just need it to not be 4. So I need to find the calls for. Yeah, it's a little bit better. Off stream, I'll refactor these cards, but I think we're getting a little bit better. I think it's looking a little nicer. I don't like how this gray background does not match the theme of the app, so I'll have to go and like refactor if this is using Code Mirror or something else. What is this using? Yeah, code mirror. I think having the user here could be useful. At some point, I want to be able to add profiles. Like I do have a way to go. Maybe I don't have profiles here. But like have a profile so you can see all, like people can see what sounds you have uploaded and what songs you have uploaded. Might be useful. And then if that's the case, then like when you're searching these sounds, having their avatar and their username, you can click it and go to their profile. That might be pretty nice. Also here on this, we could have who created it on the right. But yeah, I'm gonna commit what we have. We got a lot of changes here. Just go ahead and say initial commit again. Probably going to reach the end of the stream soon. So if you guys want to check out this code, feel free to. I'll post a, for some reason I can't. Let me just post a link here. If you guys want to contribute to this, I've been playing around with Strudel a little bit, like just trying to make music and whatnot. I think it's really cool. So if you guys have played around with this and want to kind of contribute to improving this app, code's here, open source, MIT, do what you want with it, commit what you want to it. Improve it how you think is fit and make a pull request and I'll review it. Lots of stuff I'd probably fix and change with this app, but I think we're at a decent like starting point. But eventually I want to be able to like have this be the main place that I can upload all my little experiments with sounds and effects, drum loops, and then allow other people to search for those and like just pull them into their own song if they want them. Versus having to like share stuff on a Discord community, because that's currently how it seems like the Strudel community is working. It's like people just share stuff on Discord. Is starter kit already complete? Yeah, I mean it's good enough in my opinion. There's some stuff like logging I want to add in. Maybe rate limiting I want to add in. What was the voice pop-up UI? It's called Super Whisper. I've been using OpenRouter free with GPT-5 Nano. That's cool. If you would pick a career path as a beginner between being a WordPress developer or a front-end developer, which one would you go for currently? Front-end developer for sure. I don't want to sit there making WordPress plugins and stuff. That doesn't sound fun to me. I want to buy the course. If I finish the course, I mean, if you guys like what I'm doing in this video, basically the course is going to be what I did in this live stream, but probably slowed down a little bit. And so if you think that's valuable to see me build out like a full stack application and maybe do a little bit more planning beforehand, that's what the course is going to be. Yeah. If you didn't get value from watching me kind of just play around with Cursor and Claude, then I don't think the course will be very useful. But it will also give you access to like the Agentic Jumpstart Starter Kit, which I'm not going to lie, it's free. You can just go and search my Git repository and find it. That's what I basically forked that for this project. So this is also another starting point. Some things I do plan to add in is just more starter kits. Like I'm literally just, the course will just give you access to more starter kits. Like I want to make one with Convex and Tanstack Start. I have one in Next.js already that I might bring in. But yeah. Week CN. I might make a video on this one. This is pretty cool. Pricing. They're charging for this? Interesting. Do you think Node is worth the investment to deep dive its threading event emitter since it's being used a lot for AI engineering on a project? Yeah, I mean, it never hurts to learn more. I mean, like some of the stuff you're not going to use as like if you get hired to build out websites, knowing the event emitter is something you can just learn when you run into a problem that needs it. The the lower level like HTTP standard library, usually you're going to use something like Express or Hano that abstracts over that. So again, some of these things are not important to even like be productive and build real value added services for people. What's up, Igor? How's it going? I'm thinking I make a video on my app dashboard once I get it to version 1. Yeah, that'd be probably a good idea. Can you add what commands we need to run for this project locally, like for DB migrations? Yeah, is that not in here? Let's see. Do I not even have a README? Oh, that's problematic. How to run. Step 1, npm install. Step 2, npm run db up. Step 3, npm run db migrate. Step 4, npm run dev. There you go. And then I will say overview and prereqs. I'm not sure why tab complete doesn't work inside a markdown file. It's so weird. You must have Docker set up if you want to run the Docker compose YAML, which spins up a Postgres database locally. There you go. Actually, I'll just do that one first. 1, 2. Now to log in with Google, you do actually have to like isn't it like consolecloudgoogle.com? At consolecloudgoogle.com. And read the Better Off guide for how to set up the project keys and callback URLs. Because this thing uses Better Auth. What else do we need here? It's using email authentication as well, but it's very primitive. Like it's not sending out validation emails. That's another thing I probably need to add in at some point. But I will commit this. This should be enough to at least get this app running locally. Oh, is this your project? I am the Haj. Recently started charging just over a month ago, crossed 1,000 in monthly recurring revenue. Wow, congrats, that's cool. Is it a Wednesday t-shirt? It is. At one point, my child really liked Wednesday, so I bought a Wednesday t-shirt. Maybe as Drizzle Studio run command. Opinions about Vim and why you haven't adapted it yet? Because when you're doing web development, you have to use a cursor so much. If you want to be proficient, you're going to have to use your cursor. And I found that like this idea of like, oh, using your cursor makes you slower, I think it's a fallacy. Like learning how to copy code and quickly like paste it. Like, yeah, you can use some Vim commands to like copy lines 11 and then like, you know, go down plus 6 lines. Or you could just literally like copy some code like this and like paste it into a new file or something. I don't know. I'm not convinced Vim makes you faster. I think some people need to try Vim so they can learn like the power of keywords and shortcuts. But I have found much more productivity gains with just using my cursor and my mouse. My trackpad, I guess I should say. Like there are some Vim motions that are pretty useful. I won't lie about that. Like for example, if you wanted to delete all the contents inside of this, there's probably a Vim motion for quickly like grabbing and expanding out to the curly braces or the parentheses, then you could just like delete them quickly. Or you could just do this. Like that wasn't that hard to do, right? I don't know. I'm not anti-Vim. DI curly brace. Yeah, there it is. But I guess for me, remembering all these keywords is an additional cognitive load versus I see what I want on the page. I select what I want. Maybe I played too much StarCraft 2 and StarCraft 1 and Command and Conquer, and so like I'm just so used to clicking selecting what I want. But I'm not going to switch to Vim or NeoVim. It's just not going to happen. I'll just be honest with you all. And then as LLMs get better, like the need to code is becoming less important. So like even if you know every single shortcut in NeoVim and whatever, when an LLM cranks out 5 times more code than you can, like what's the point? It's just like a fun thing at that point, in my opinion. Like learning all the hotkeys is just like a fun thing to do. Have you watched any videos about mobile development, specifically iOS, even through React Native? I found Adam Levis. I think I watched like 1 or 2. I mean, I've done a sponsored video using React Native. Well, using Expo. Using Expo, it's super easy to make apps. Like, I was surprised how quick you can actually have an app created. The hardest part was like getting it published. I couldn't even create an account for the App Store. Like, they would not approve me. I tried uploading my IDs, my passport. They kept on denying me. I don't know why. Maybe their system's broken. You would think Mac and the, Apple could hire some good developers to fix that, but it's like a terrible process. Hey, thanks for the subscription. Even Command and Conquer in StarCraft is very hotkey heavy. Yeah, but it's like hotkey, but you have to use the mouse, right? You can't control your units by doing like hotkeys. So as you're spamming 1212, F1 SD to select all your drones, select all your larvae, and then create some drones. You still gotta move the stuff with your cursor. You make me want to play some StarCraft right now. Thoughts on Lovable? I want to get into vibe coding, but I don't know where to start. I don't know. Because I'm a software engineer and I've been doing it, like the whole idea of vibe coding just doesn't sit well with me. I don't like the idea of shipping something I haven't actually reviewed the code for. And I ran into like I don't know what they call it, like the LLM death spiral, where it just sits there trying to fix something and it can't fix it. And then it like reviews the TypeScript errors and it tries to fix it. And then it just tries over and over again. And then after 20 minutes, it's used through all your tokens. Like there's instances like that where I'm like, I just don't think vibe coding is like in the long run feasible. But that's just my opinion. And again, I'm biased because I've been coding for a while, Oh, Ross, well, man, you must have been watching my channel for a while, huh? Yeah, the StarCraft app was like at least a year or 2 ago. Yeah, in a sense, what I'm doing right now is just vibe coding. But there's been multiple times where I have to go into the code base and like fix stuff. And then instead of just committing without reviewing all the code, if I wasn't on a stream, I would have spent probably 10, 20 minutes reading through every single line of code. But I mean, this is for a side project, so I don't really care. If it's for like a real project, I would probably be very, very cautious of accepting code into a code base. That could potentially break stuff. Expo right now simplified the way how you even publish apps to the store, or its EAS. Yeah, I gotta actually try to build out like a solid Expo app. Yeah, I would consider myself like an agentic coder at this point. But I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out, like on YouTube, are there people who have really good workflows of using Claude Code and Cursor and doing agentic coding, like utilizing sub agents, utilizing commands that I can just watch build something? There's a few people I've watched, and I'm not impressed. Like, I'm trying to figure out like what is the best way to code with these new tools. And if you guys have been watching this stream, is the way I'm coding kind of similar to how you've been coding on stuff? Didn't you have to practice leak code to get your current job? How do you have time for these projects? I mean, back in college, I did leak code problems. But that was like 10 years ago. More than that. That was like 15, 14, 13 years ago. What's up, Rodrigo? Hey, Cody, have you tried Kiro AI with spec-driven development? No, but I have experimented with spec-driven development where I'll use the LLM to generate a giant spec file for like a user story. Typically, I'll make an epic and then I'll make user stories for that epic. And then in the user story, I'll have requirements mapped out. And then I'll click and drag that document and ask, the LLM like Claude to build out all of the features that are in the spec. I think it works well, but honestly, it feels like it works the same way as what I did right here, where instead of like spending all this time having every single requirement mapped out, I like just iteratively adding feature or tweak after tweak. I find it more enjoyable. It's a lot more fun, and I can do like rapid fixes and tweaks as it's kind of being developed. And then once you're kind of done with everything, you could potentially say, hey, summarize everything we did in this terminal session and put it in a markdown file to map out the requirements of the current system. I've also tried doing some test-driven development with this approach too, but like I found after adding 1 or 2 user stories, it burned through all of my Claude tokens. Like it locked me out. I have like the $100 a month plan, and within like 2 iterations of like, hey, here's a spec file, write tests to verify these specs are right, and do test-driven development to implement the feature, it burned through all my tokens. And then the app wasn't even working, the test didn't even pass. So I'm like, these ideas are cool. But it's like finding the sweet spot of like, is this actually making us more productive or is it slowing us down? And I think that's entering a boundary where it's like wasting our time. And I would rather like hand write the spec files so that I know, or sorry, hand write the tests if I'm doing like test-driven development to make sure that we're actually verifying the right stuff. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure this stuff out. There's a lot of hype around AI coding, and then I use it, and sometimes I'm like, oh, this is awesome, and sometimes I use it, and I'm like, this is not so awesome. No, I'm like, I think I'm 34 right now. I have I don't have wrinkles on my face because I never go outside, I've been sitting in front of my computer for my whole life. I feel like AI is best for doing trivial tasks and not so much the heavy lifting. Yeah. It's good. I wouldn't say trivial. It's good at, yeah, I guess you could say trivial. Either trivial or tedious tasks. Tasks that like you could literally do yourself. You just know it's going to take you a lot of time. Like creating a page with some cards and some filters and a form and a button that shows a confirmation dialog. Like that's not hard stuff to do. It's just a matter of like going and copying and pasting a bunch of code and hooking it together. That's what AI does really good at. And then also like a backend endpoint. Like it's not hard to make a backend endpoint that has authentication checks, does an authorization check, does a database query, maybe does some database validation, some API validation, and then sends back a result to a user. Like that's very tedious, low brain effort stuff, and AI is really good to do that. And a lot of people will just throw the problem at AI and then it'll give it wrong every time. Yeah. Yes, this is one of the keys I found. I like to say, hey, I need a new page with a new form that does this. Follow the exact examples and patterns that we're using on this other page. And like you will get really good results that way. And then even reminding it, like sometimes I just, for the sake of it, I'll throw in, remember to do client-side validation, remember to use React hook form, or remember to use the current shad scene components when building this out. Like you have to remind it, or else sometimes it just doesn't do it. Like you can't assume the AI is going to do it the way that you would do it because it doesn't have that context. And I guess that's where context files come into play. Like if you notice a pattern where like it keeps forgetting to do something a certain way, make a context file or a cursor rules so that you'll be more successful next time. Yeah, that's a good one. These are really two really good examples of perfecting the outputs of your LLM. Yeah. Cool. Hope you guys enjoy the stream. I'm actually going to drop. Been streaming for 2 hours and 10 minutes, so you can feel my voice starting to get a little raspy. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. I'll try to stream more often. I've been burned down on YouTube, but I'm going to try to push through. I had fun on this stream, so hopefully that'll reinvigorate like my drive. And if you guys want to contribute to this, please. I'm looking for people who are smart to want to code with me, you know? Join my Discord. Contribute to the Strudel Cookbook project. If you want, if you're bored, you're looking for stuff to do. But I need you to be a go-getter. Like, don't come to me and say, hey, like, what should we add in next? Like, try using the app. Try using Strudel to build out some music. Find out what things you'd want to have in this application. And if you can do that by yourself, like, that means you're probably good. You're ready to be hired at a job. Okay? You don't need to be handheld. Anyway, hope you guys had fun. Just totally messed up where that was lined up. All right.